6 affordable hidden gem fragrances from 6 Middle Eastern brands. Hey guys, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman, and it's time for your dose of some fragrance content. Today I'm going to talk about hidden gem fragrances that for one reason or another didn't get that much traction when they were released, but in my opinion are worth checking out. And just to include more diversity into the video, all 6 fragrances will come from different Middle Eastern brands. And the first one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Swiss Arabian, and it's called Primal coat. Looks like this. This is a very interesting scent that in a way can be thought of as being a clone, but I think of it more like a mix between two very famous scent DNAs. On one hand we have the stronger we chew scent DNA, then on the other hand we have a strong sort of an fruity, slightly bubblegummy type of action going on that may remind you of stuff like Invictus, for example, Invictus, Paco Rabanne's Invictus, or something like Jean-Paul Gaultier's Ultramont. Leans more into the stronger witch sides, but this is an interesting, youthful, sweet, slightly warm scent that has a lot of vanillic and ambery sweetness, but also has quite a bit of sort of an fruity sweetness as well, bubblegummy sweetness. And overall, this is like maybe a slightly more youthful take on the stronger witch DNA, let's call it that. But this smells nice, it smells sweet, and it smells strong. This is a very strong fragrance that lasts for a long time. I think a while back when I was going through the comment section on this one on Fragrantica, even before I got a bottle of this one, somebody said that this smells a lot like Stronger With You, but way stronger, and I can agree, because this is stronger than Stronger With You, both when it comes to total longevity on skin and when it comes to projection as well. This is a very long-lasting scent that will probably, I can easily call it a beast mode performing scent that lasts for a very long time on skin and also projects really nicely in the first few hours. One of the better projecting fragrances in my entire collection. It's slightly more expensive than some other clones, but definitely for the sort of an interesting and mass-pleasing scent and for its performance, I think it's worth it, and I think it's a hidden gem. The next one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Paris Corner. It's part of the Nord Stag line, and this one is called Deux. I think this lineup of fragrances was released around about a year ago, maybe slightly over a year ago, and for some reason none of them really got that much attention. All 4 of the fragrances in this lineup are cloning famous, very expensive designer or niche scents. In the case of Deux, this was probably the most famous one out of the bunch, but still didn't get that much recognition. This is a clone of Parfum de Marlis Layton, and from what I've tried and from all my experience with Layton clones, I have I think 12, 13, 15, something like that. This is in the top 3 or 4 Layton clones that I own. Initially when I got this fragrance, it felt a little bit more spicy and slightly greener than Layton itself, but the more this has been sitting in my collection, the more it's been maturing, the better it gets and the closer it gets to Layton. Still feels maybe ever so slightly greener than Layton, but that's only up close in the air. This smells very similar to Layton, and also this offers really nice performance, projection, and also the packaging, the whole presentation is very nice. You get a pressurized spray and all that good stuff. And nowadays, initially when this was launched, it used to be a little bit more expensive. This was going for roughly about 50 euros here in Europe, around about $60. But nowadays I think you can find it for like closer to $50, if not even under $50. At that price point, this is a very good contender at being a great Layton clone. The next one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Afnan. Afnan have a lot of great fragrances that are very popular. This is one of those ones that are really not that popular. It's called Tribute Blue. There's a whole lineup that has a white bottle, a black bottle, this one as well. And this is one of those rare occasions when we get a Middle Eastern fragrance that's actually not a clone of anything. It's an original creation by the guys from Afnan. Although it may remind you of a few other scents out there, this is an interesting and unique creation. This is a very versatile masculine fragrance that in a way reminds me of stuff like Bois Imperial. Just lately, French Avenue released Zenith Noir, which also reminds me very heavily of this one, but this is quite an old gem. It's been around for a few years at least. It's woody, but it's a little bit green. There's a bit of freshness with this one, maybe a hint of spiciness and sort of a green touch, like a bit of a floral touch, some ambery sweetness. It's a unique scent that's very hard to explain, smells very modern. At the same time smells very masculine and smells very versatile, because you can wear this fragrance throughout the year without any problem. And another great thing about this one is the performance. It's a very long lasting scent that lasts on skin, that projects nicely, and it also gets compliment, and it's very versatile. Again, you can wear this one not only throughout the year but for any type of occasion. You can dress it up, you can dress it down if you want. Overall, this is a great little scent from the guys of Afnan. I'm a huge fan of Tribute Blue. The next one comes from the brand of Arabiyat Prestige, and this one is cloning a famous at the moment original scent that comes from the brand of Stephanie Humbert Lucas, which is, the original one is called God of Fire. It became very popular within Middle Eastern brands. Pretty much every brand came up with their own version, and the most popular, the most hyped up clone of God of Fire is Vulcan Feu or Vulcan Feu from French Avenue, and that's a great clone of God of Fire without any doubt. But this is an interesting alternative, I would say, of God of Fire. Still smells very similar, but it has a few minor twists, and this definitely deserves more attention. It's called Kohl Luminous from Arabiyat Prestige, and this is like a slightly less tropical, slightly less fruity take on the original scent. The ginger note is toned down, the mango note is toned down. Instead, you get a little bit more woodiness, you get a little bit more ambers with this one, a little bit more vanillic sweetness. And overall, I definitely prefer this especially over the original scent, which in my opinion is overhyped and overpriced. This one performs better than the original fragrance, while it's still a little bit more expensive as a clone. This still costs a fraction of the price of the original, and overall I like the slightly sweeter and less fresh and tropical take of on the original scent that the guys from Arabiyat Prestige have done with their version. And I really do think this one deserves more attention than it gets, because you get great quality, you get a pressurized sprayer, great presentation, and as I said, a very good performance, even better than the original scent. The next one in this video comes from the brand of French Avenue, and it's part of the Moonstone lineup. This one is called Moonstone Blue. There are two fragrances in this lineup, and I really like both of them, but I talk more regularly about the black one, which is called Moonstone Noir, so for this video I went with Moonstone Blue. Now, both of them, in my opinion, are very underrated, and they're very different as a scent. One of them feels very dark, very smoky, sweet, woody, and mysterious. The other one smells very fresh, very masculine, very barbershoppy and slightly old school, and that other one is Moonstone Blue. This one is inspired by Penhaligon's Sartorial, and it's a very interesting barbershop freshie that feels kind of simplistic on one hand, but then on the other hand is actually quite a solid and complex scent. Now, this is fresh, this has this sort of a metallic and slightly watery edge to it. At the same time, you get a bit of a floral touch, you get a strong lavender note in this one, which feels a very interesting way. It feels sort of like a cold, like you smell the note of lavender, but in a very, very cold weather. The dry down is musky, there's a bit of a sweetness, some woodiness. Overall, this smells very, very nice, a very masculine, a very barbershoppy, but a very old school. Keep that in mind if you have never tried this one or the original scent. Keep in mind that both of them smell a very old school. You need to enjoy these types of scents, but I personally have been really digging Moonstone Blue. Initially, I really liked more the black one. Nowadays, I like both of them very much. For this sort of a fresh and slightly airy and aromatic nature that this fragrance has, the performance also is very solid, at least on my skin. This lasts for a good amount of time. It also projects really nicely. And the last one that I've included in today's video comes from the brand of Lattafa. It's part of the Niche Amrati lineup, and this one is called Classic Stone. It has a bit of a weird looking bottle, especially when it comes to the cap. Without the cap, this looks like a flask, but with the cap on, this looks like some sort of a bug or something like that. I don't really enjoy the way that the bottle looks, but it has nice quality. It comes from that very high quality lineup from Lattafa, the highest quality lineup that you can get. And This one smells a lot like Parfum de Marly's Altair, but at the same time it smells pretty different. Now, first of all, this is not as aromatic and is not as heavy on the white florals as you'll find with Altair. This also has a slightly different type of sweetness. This has a bit of a gourmand touch. Also, this almost smells like having a honey note in it. There's some smokiness with this fragrance, and this also includes the note of leather. And overall, this is less aromatic, less bright and fresh and spicy version of Altair. This is darker, this is more masculine, a little bit more complex, and overall, I've said this in some of my other videos, but this is like making an actual niche version of Altair, or like making Altair Absolute, or Altair, I don't know, whatever, like a darker flanker, like a more niche flanker to Altair itself. The quality is very nice with this fragrance. It definitely deserves more attention than it gets, more recognition for what it does, the way that it does it. And also, this is a pretty strong performing scent, lasts for a long time and projects really nicely. It's a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth it because of the quality, the interesting scent profile, and the performance. So guys, in today's video, I showed you a total of 6 hidden gem affordable fragrances from 6 different Middle Eastern brands. I hope that you found today's video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in my next one for your dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.